Shalom everyone. This week we'll learn about Parshat Tisa. This Parsha is the turning point in Jewish history. So until now we've been on the up. We left Mitzrayim. This week we'll learn about the golden calf. But before we get to the golden calf, before we get to the concept of forgiveness, which we first meet in our Parsha, the idea that Moshe doesn't just give up when Hashem says they've messed up, it's over. No, Moshe prays and argues and pleads and wins our case. The idea that we can have a second set of tablets after Moshe breaks the first ones. But first, let's go in order. Our Parsha begins with the story of Betzalel. We have the commandments of counting the Jewish people. Hashem says, when you count the Jewish people, remember that they're supposed to be infinite. The concept of the Jewish people is beyond any number, so you're not supposed to count Jews. So the Torah says, okay, let each Jew donate half a shekel and we'll count it. And the idea of a half a shekel is that we're all part of a greater whole. No one's complete alone. Together, we can create something complete. Then Hashem tells Moshe, everything you just learned about how to build the Mishkan and the clothing for Aaron, you need someone to oversee it. There's one person who is so talented, he'll know just how to do everything with the gold, with the silver, with the materials. There's one person. He's a kid. His name is Betzalel. He happens to be Moshe's great nephew because Betzalel is the son of Uri, who is the son of Hur, who is the son of Miriam, Moshe's own sister. So Betzalel is like the grandson of Moshe's sister, right? He is the great-grandson of Moshe's sister. He's a kid. But Hashem says to Moshe, look, I have a book here in heaven that says every leader that's going to be in world history. It says here, Betzalel is the one that's supposed to lead this. He's the only one who has this skill set. Together with Oliav, he'll have a partner who's also a kid, and tell the Jews that this is who I recommend. So Betzalel is appointed to lead the building of the Mishkan, and then we have one commandment that can seem inconsequential, but our sages told us it says everything. Hashem says, keep Shabbos. Keep Shabbos, we know that. Hashem says, yeah, keep Shabbos teaches you that all the tasks you have to do to build the Mishkan, those are exactly the tasks you're not going to do on Shabbos. So when our Parsha says keep Shabbos, what the Parsha is really saying is you cannot build the Mishkan on Shabbos. And if you want to know what's prohibited on Shabbos, just look at what are important tasks in the building of the Mishkan. And this is how we derive the 39 prohibited tasks from which everything else is derivatives of Shabbos. So the whole Shabbos concept, how we keep Shabbos today, is derived from this, that Hashem says keep Shabbos. Building the Mishkan doesn't override that. Now, Moshe told the Jews he was leaving for 40 days and 40 nights. And the day he left, they counted as day one. So in all of Tanakh, you're going to see that when we are given numbers, we don't know what to do with it, even though a number seems to be something so easy. So they counted day one, the day Moshe ascended the mountain, which was wrong. Day one was the next day. And so they reach day 40 and they tell Aaron, what's going on? Why isn't Moshe coming down? They look at the clouds and the Satan makes it that it looks like Moshe's coffin is floating on the clouds, and they tell Aaron, didn't Moshe say he's coming on day 40? We've been counting, it's day 40, where's Moshe? So the people are panicking. And of course, we have some not such pious people who have joined us, called the Erev Rav, and they start telling Aaron, we have to make an idol, we can't be alone in the desert, we need some means of connecting to God. If Moshe isn't here to prophesy, so someone else has to help us. So who steps up? Remember Betzalel? Betzalel's grandfather, Hur, Miriam's own son. He was left responsible together with Aaron. When Moshe left, he said, if you guys have any questions, Aaron and Hur, they're in charge. So Hur steps up and he says, hello, stop! No such thing. And they kill him. And when Aaron looks and sees his nephew Hur was just murdered, Aaron realizes that the crowd has gone wild. It's not all of the Jewish people, it's not the masses, but the masses are silent. The masses don't tell Aaron, hey, we're behind you, you can do whatever you say. And the masses don't protect Hur. Aaron is standing there against the masses who are silent, and 1,000 or 2,000 who have come together and murdered his nephew, the other leader of the Jewish people. So Aaron says, if I try to stand up to them, they'll kill me too, and I've helped nothing. So Aaron says, you know what, let me guide them away. So Aaron says, we'll celebrate God tomorrow. Let's everyone prepare. You want me to prepare you an idol? No problem, I'll do it. Go to your wives and tell them all to give you their jewelry, and I'll melt it and I'll make you an idol. Now Aaron figures he's been helping 30,000 couples with their marriage problems. He knows everything about marriage. And he knows that when they go to their wives are going to say, go fly a kite, which is exactly what happened. The wives looked at their husbands and said, say what? You're going to melt my jewelry for a stupid idol? I believe in God. I'm not doing this. And so the wives, they don't partake of the golden calf. The men come to their wives and say, we got to do this. And the wives say, forget it. No way. And in Judaism, men respect their wives. There's no such concept, because I'm stronger, you're going to do what I say. So even though these men were very into setting up a golden calf, they didn't dare do different than their wives told them. So they took their own jewelry. Because when we left Egypt, the men were also wearing earrings and rings. They were dressed like slaves, right? So they took off all their jewelry and they came to Aaron. And surprise, Aaron had expected they'd be fighting with their wives. But what ended up happening is they surprised him with a lot of gold and silver. So Aaron wants to buy time. He doesn't really understand why Moshe hasn't shown up. So he says, tomorrow morning we celebrate. Well, bright and early they show up and they start getting drunk and they're more rowdy and they're more dangerous. And Aaron is taking his time. He says, I'll do it. His point in doing it alone is that it'll take a lot of time. He wants to buy time. And as he melts the gold, and as he's doing what he's doing, so they start dancing and celebrating, and they take man and they bring it as an offering for this God that they expect Aaron to put together. Now, they were used to worshiping the calf in Egypt, so this is what they wanted now. And Aaron is playing along in the hopes that he will buy time and he'll be able to dissuade them. And that's why he told them, we will celebrate Hashem tomorrow. Meanwhile, Hashem says to Moshe, listen here. You only get greatness when the Jewish people are great. The Jewish people have just fallen. You have to leave. Let go of me. So Moshe says, what does that mean, let go of me? Hashem says, I'm going to destroy them. And Moshe hears the hint. He says, if Hashem said, let go of me, he's telling me I could hold on. So Moshe does not go down. Moshe starts praying. He says, Hashem, you know, this would destroy your reputation with the Egyptians. The Egyptians said you had bad intent. The Egyptians said there was a star called Ra'ah over our path in the desert and we'd all be destroyed by the star. They're going to say you couldn't do it. You wiped us out because you just couldn't do it. Hashem, in your name, you have to forgive the Jewish people. Do not destroy them. And he pleads with Hashem till he reaches the point where Hashem says, okay. Moshe gets sick. He breaks out into a fever. He is pleading so hard for the Jewish people. And then, only after he has the assurance that Hashem won't annihilate us, Hashem had told Moshe, I'll make you into the Jewish people. And Moshe says, please, I want them to continue. As our great leader Moshe, he pleads on our behalf. He comes down and he sees the nations wild. Yeshua has been waiting for him by the mountain. Together they go into the camp. When Moshe shows up, suddenly everything's clear. They run to Moshe and they see he's holding the 2 tablets made by God. And they try to hold the tablets. And Moshe says, no, I'm not giving you the tablets. And all the elders run to Moshe and they try to hold the tablets. But Moshe was stronger. He grabbed the tablets away and threw them to the ground, smashing them. The one creation that God says, I will make and give you. Moshe understands that this is the marriage contract. If I bring this into the camp, they're doomed. It says, I am Hashem your God. You will not have a God but me. But the Jews just transgressed. They just worship the golden calf. So Moshe Rabbeinu says, I have to destroy the marriage contract. If I destroy the marriage contract, so we're not married. We're not married, so it's not so bad. It's not nice. It's not right. But I took the marriage contract and I destroyed it. So in doing so, Moshe Rabbeinu does one of the greatest acts of Jewish history. He breaks the tablets. And then he goes into the camp and he judges the Jewish people and he punishes those who need to be executed, those who need to be punished. And then he gathers the Jewish people and he says, you've done something terrible. You've done something terrible. I'm going to go and try to atone for what you've done. And he goes up the mountain for another 40 days and 40 nights in prayer. And ultimately, at the end of our Parsha, Moshe comes back. He teaches us that God is forgiving. He teaches us the 13 attributes of mercy that are revealed to him on the top of the mountain. Hashem, the first 2 attributes is Hashem is merciful before we've transgressed, even though he knows full well that we will. And after we've transgressed, he doesn't say, boy, what a disappointment. No, he says, I'm still the same Hashem. I'm still merciful. And the 13 attributes teach us about Hashem's kindness and mercy. and the idea that Hashem wants connection with us, that we should learn from those attributes. We should also be kind people. And Moshe comes down from the mountain at the end of our Parsha with the second set of tablets, the idea that we are still connected to Hashem, and even after we've messed up, we're still connected, we're still the chosen people, we're still headed to the land of Israel, and we are still with the responsibility to carry the beacon of light, the guidance that Hashem wants for the world. Shabbat Shalom.